Why is content creation important in geotechnical engineering? And how have you used it to shape your career and also build influence in the industry? Like I learned about you from seeing on TikTok and Instagram.
Well, as a geotechnical engineer, content creation is important for me because many of the people in Uganda, I would say East Africa, we are not, because people call us and they have made it a regulation that before you build one story app, you need to have geotechnical investigations conducted. Because recently,
content creation and geotechnical engineering is more than just sharing knowledge. It's about driving innovation and pushing the boundaries of what is possible and creating and sharing valuable content. And professionals in the field can accelerate progress and also improve collaboration and ultimately make a bigger impact. In this episode, I'm thrilled to have as our guest Deborah Tusingwire, founder of ORESOIL. And she is somebody that has harnessed the power of content creation to become a thought leader in geotechnical engineering. She joins us from Uganda. She's going to be talking about how sharing knowledge online has shaped her career. She'll talk about some of the challenges of creating technical content and why more engineers and geologists should embrace content as a tool for professional growth. This is a very special episode, as this is going to be the last episode for a little while at the Geotechnical Engineering Podcast, as we'll be taking a break as a channel. And I believe it's the perfect episode to leave you on because this is an inspirational guest that's going to challenge us all to continue to share knowledge in one shape or another. And also she's going to challenge us to continue guiding others and keeping the growth that's happening within the industry, keep it growing. So I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for all of your support. People reach out to us from around the world that say that we're providing value, and I'm glad that we're providing value for you. It's been an honor to serve as a host of this podcast for the last over 4 years, and hosting this podcast has been an honor, and I cherish every moment of it, especially the opportunity to connect with so many amazing people. So while this chapter is coming to a pause for now, remember that the Engineering Management Institute will continue to provide a variety of other podcasts that you can check out. And those are at engineeringmanagementinstitute.org/podcasts. Thank you for being a part of our journey. So for the last time in a little while, I am your host, Jared Green, and I'm excited to be bringing you another episode of the Geotechnical Engineering Podcast. And with that, let's dive right into today's episode. It would be great if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself. Tell us about your journey in geotechnical engineering, and also tell us about the company that you founded.
well, first of all, Jared, I'm so excited to be here. It's really amazing because when I had just started out in content creation or geotechnical engineering, I kind of looked out for people who are into these spaces. But that is a story for another day. So right about now, I studied petroleum and mineral geosciences. And starting out with that background, I had a lot of, like in Uganda, we have a lot of unemployment, and the opportunities in these geotechnical, these different fields are very minimal. So there is a lot of competition, especially on different fields, in these different companies that come up, and it's very hard for, if you're not a good performer or someone that is not assertive, to get into the spaces. So how I enter into geotechnical engineering, I started by wanting to, because I have a desire for minerals. So I wanted to find out what exactly I can do to relate business-wise, to relate the minerals with the soil. And I found out that the soil was something that was relatable. But at the time of study, I didn't know about geotechnical engineering. So I knew that I love minerals, and I knew that rocks and minerals and soils are literally the same thing, but I didn't know how to bring this into one thing. So I started researching. As I was researching, I was doing more research on soils and agriculture. Then I realized in that process, I realized that, hey, wait, there is something called geotechnical engineering. It was my first time to hear it. Like, I didn't know it was geotech. All I knew was soil testing for construction. And for a long time, I kept telling people I do soil testing for construction, but I could not comprehend it because being a young person with no experience, with no people in the field to really guide me, I said, what is that exactly? But I remember one day we were somewhere with one of my colleagues, and we went to inquire from a geotechnical lab. So it was one of the best by the time. And when we reached there, I heard the lady speaking with a lot of knowledge. I said, I want to be like her. She's wise. I want to be brilliant like her. Look at how she's talking. She was talking about coring, like the different cores they go and drill on site. I'm like, I want to be like this lady. She talks with a lot of knowledge. I want to be like her. But I didn't know that that was geotech at that time because we are into rocks geology. So I happened to, as I made the research and I found out that there is something called geotechnical engineering, I went ahead and called her because at that time I started creating content for people to see that soil can be done, there is something valuable in the soil. But I literally wanted them to call me back so that we can do business. And at that time, it was something green. So what I did, I remember through the different, I used to create content about soils. I would literally find any soil around my place and just take pictures. And guys used to call me out. Actually, even up to now, people are calling me the face of the soils. And I am like, wait. So that's how I start my journey into geotechnical engineering. I get into close contact with this lady, and I tell her, you know what, I can get the clients because I had started online, but I don't have the experience. But if you can give me the experience, I will get you the clients. But I just want to learn what this is all about. So she was very generous. So that's how I get into geotechnical engineering. So everyone that is watching me, my name is Deborah Tusingwire. I'm a Ugandan, a female Ugandan who has ventured into geotechnical engineering and mineral exploration. We do investigations for geotech, for soils and rocks, and also do mineral testings. We do geophysical surveys just to help our clients in these spaces to really understand what they do. So why did I found ORESOIL? Now, after I had done a lot of research and I knew that geotechnical investigations were actually real, I met a friend, and he's like, Deborah, because we did the same course together at university. So he tells me, what you're doing is good. Keep it up. You're teaching us literally every day about soil, about different things. And to me, it was a win-win. Like, oh, really? Are you sure you guys are watching? And he's like, yeah, we are watching. Keep it up. And told me, do you know what happened? We applied for a job. They needed only one person at that job. It was a petroleum officer at some very good workplace here in Kampala. It's our capital city. So they wanted only one person, but guess what? 1,000 people applied. 1,000 graduates. Yes. 1,000. And he told me they cut them to 600. And lucky enough, he was a part of the 600. I think they did aptitude and something like that. So I told him, okay. And he told me, yes, when we did the aptitude, now we are waiting to go for another test that is going to have only one, they only need one petroleum officer. I said, wait, I am sitting on a future employer. Not just really literally like I want to be a boss, but can I create opportunities for people in my space? Not only because even in the geotechnical, because I relate geotech, because I understand geotech as soil, rocks, their behavior.
Mhm.
You are
Yeah.
literally studying the behavior of soil and rocks, and that is more like geology, because that's what we do. We study the rock formations, we study how these can impact, and some of the things I'm impressed that I'm finding in the geotechnical space are some of the things we have studied in the other geological spaces. So that's
Ah,
how, when I realized there was employment opportunity issues, I said no, I need to really sort this as well as doing what I love, and that was minerals and soil and rocks. So I literally do everything: minerals, soil, and rock. That's how ORESOIL was actually founded. And just to hit on what ORESOIL looked like at that time, while people were celebrating Valentine's, because that's when I came up with ORESOIL to
okay.
represent, because I was so interested in ores and soils, and literally if you're to separate the name, it's more like ores, soil, oil. Literally it's a whole ecosystem that I'm interested in. So that's why I really started out. And on I remember it was Valentine of 2021 that I sat down and said, I am getting a name for my company and I am starting. And that's how I've started geotechnical investigations and mineral explorations in Uganda.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love that you had a love for mineralogy
Oh, yes.
and a love for soil. And you're
Yeah.
telling this story before you truly understand it. And then through that, you find geotechnical engineering and exploration. It's
Exactly.
fantastic. It's fantastic. That is fantastic. Well, I'll tell you, if I wasn't a geotechnical engineering consultant, I would want to be
Okay.
one after spending some time with you. So well done. Well done. So let's talk a little bit about content creation. You are an entrepreneur, so you're a business owner. And why is content creation important in geotechnical engineering? And how have you used it to shape your career and also build influence in the industry? Like I learned about you from seeing on TikTok and Instagram. I didn't, that's how I learned about you. But how is content creation important for you as a geotechnical engineer?
Well, as a geotechnical engineer, content creation is important for me because, first of all, first and foremost, many of the people in Uganda, I would say East Africa, we are not well conversant with geotech, because people call us and they have made it a regulation that before you build one story app, you need to have geotechnical investigations conducted. Because recently we've had a number of different issues around structural failures, and some people are getting cracks, but we had never understood what exactly is happening to the soils, or possibly we have not given the soils the time. So why it's important for us and why content creation is important, it helps us, it makes our it literally makes this we call a career something worthwhile. Because right now in Uganda, as a business owner, you would tell someone this is how much you're going to pay for this kind of thing, and you have really subsidized the costs, but they will say no, that we don't have that money. We don't have that money. And someone that is even building, what shocks me is people that are building story buildings like 6 stories up, they also they don't want to hear the prices that come with geotech. Why? Because we are not media people. What the media has done, it has given people opportunity to brand themselves. Now, as
Yeah.
geotechnical engineers, the more we put our content out there, people get to understand and appreciate it, and over time it is valued and opportunities created in our spaces. And you're not only just a geotechnical engineer, but you are offering value that is appreciated both in terms monetary and also in terms of development and contribution to the economy. So
Wow.
I believe that content creation is an important thing for all of us. If we woke up and let's say, because what then is content creation? Because content creation has different forms. It takes on different forms. Literally, you're producing, you distributing, you know,
Yeah. Yep.
because what I perceive in this modern era, everywhere on the internet, as long as you can access internet, is content creation. When we go to the websites, that is all that we are seeing, the scripting, the blogging, when we go to YouTube, the videos that we see, that is all content creation. It's not only entertainment that is called content creation. Content creation
Yeah.
is literally what our industry entails. And why should someone actually appreciate it? Because I'll tell you something, that before when I ventured into the geotechnical space and doing all these different videos and stuff like that, I went and started looking out for people who are in this space. And it is shocking that when you go to when you type in searchable, like search engine optimizations, and you're like geotechnical engineering, you realize we don't have so much stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
makes it a bit hard for people who really want to find out things, or for people,
Yeah.
especially like in places Africa, where we need to do ample research. You don't have anything to start with. For instance, when I started out, I was as green as nothing. And when I went on the internet, for instance, how to do a quotation for a client, I didn't know.
Mm.
And when you go on the internet looking for a quotation, doing a detailed geotechnical quotation for a client, you can't find it. You can't. But if we are to create content, people like ourselves, geotechnical engineers, young geotechnical engineers, are able to actually come up with these, to understand that they're like, oh, wow, this is how we do our templates. But we don't have many of these things out there as geotechnical engineers. And if they are there, they are complex. We don't understand them. Because even myself, I try to make things as easy as it can be. But guys were like,
Yep.
we don't understand your things. What is soil? What is this soil? And someone even told me, what is your typical day like in the soil business? You know? So
Yeah.
that's why now that I've started to appreciate some of my friends, though, they know that no, this one does they do geotech, they do test. And some of the people we have encountered have now really realized that, oh, meaning if I am to build a house, I should call a geotechnical engineer. And many of them don't even know where you are. They're looking for geotechnical engineers. They will find the ones of the US. But how will a geotechnical engineer from the US come to Uganda to do your geotech? You need to scale up and put content out there in whichever form you feel comfortable with. For instance, look at this podcast. The first time I was looking for people in this space, I met you and I kept following you. I'm like, Emma, this is good. What he's doing for the industry is good. This is it. Who are these guys? But I can't even. I saw those conferences and I was like, if I had money, I would go. But look at how far it has brought us. Consistency.
I love it. Because I found you. So that's great. That is great. So what is some of the reality is that your perspective is very valuable here, because a lot of times we think about conference papers and publications, which is right. That's important. But the notion of social media makes it relevant for people that may not be going to conferences, right? And it's very practical. I want to build a house. I want to put a story on top of it. Who do I need? Most times people would think about an architect, maybe a structural engineer, but oftentimes they've never heard of a geotechnical engineer. So, you're filling in that gap, which I really appreciate it. Now, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that you faced when it comes to sharing content or creating content? What are some of the things that you're facing?
Well, some of those biggest challenges I've faced, given that I didn't know much about, and there is limited content out there that is simplified, it
Mhm.
becomes a bit hard to explain engineering concepts, especially if you're from a geological background.
Mhm.
It becomes a bit complicated. But another challenge is you find that now, for instance, I'll give you an example. Last year, I made a decision in 2023 to create much content on YouTube and just put content out there on YouTube. So as we're approaching the end of last year, 2024, my mother fell sick. Now, when
Yes.
she fell sick, I realized that, oh, I had to take off some time, like 8 months. And that was time because she could not tell herself. She couldn't do a lot of things by herself. I needed to be there. So you find that because you don't have many people that, or possibly you don't have the finances to maybe hire a video scripter, a content writer, people that can shoot for you videos, people that can, because it's a lot that is put into content. For instance, I wanted to do YouTube videos, but I need to have all this in place. There are people editing your scripts, that you are showing up, the makeup, all, because in content creation they do all that stuff for you to appeal
Mhm.
to the audiences, something like that. So you realize that because of the finances, you may not be able to project as far as you can. And when my mother was sick, I could not take time off to do content creation. And what makes it content creation is how long it takes, how consistent you are with it. Now, if you stop along the way, it a bit goes down because people want to show up every day, and you're struggling with other big creators, you're struggling with other amazing entertainment people, comedians. You're struggling with, because that is our major challenge, how we get, because the very people that are watching football are the people that are our customers, but
Yeah.
how to appeal to them, you know, it becomes a very, very big challenge because you still need them. Because now, as a business owner, I want to drive sales. I want
Mhm.
to because the whole reason for creating this content, one is to educate people, and as we're educating people, we are understanding that people are being pushed to greater heights. Now, as they're pushed to greater heights, they're able to appreciate, but that's a long-term investment that
Yeah.
becomes a bit, the operational costs and stuff like that. A lot of things are actually involved in there that makes it so much hard. But however, if you love what you do, it's about even following a strategy. Some of the challenges I had to use them as problems and then solve them. So the biggest challenge is thinking that people don't appreciate our content. The
Mhm.
mindset, what we think
Mm.
about ourselves, also determines what we put out. You know, me, I didn't care about. Sometimes, it's a bit tricky because people want to see those clear, very nice visuals and graphics, and but there are some of the challenges that you can get because the visuals will not be clear sometimes. And to other people, you may not appeal to be, but that is what it takes to actually create content. You may not be appreciated. You're not appreciated. You're not, the spaces are not welcoming, and guys are not even supportive because our industries are not that supportive. So it becomes a bit
Mm.
challenging.
That's interesting. You see the challenge as a problem, and then you find a way to solve the problem. That's engineering. That is all of our engineering is problem solving, right? It's like try to find a way to the solution. So that's really powerful. what are some of the platforms or formats that have worked well for you when sharing content regarding minerals, soil, and rock? What has worked well for you and why?
Because when I was creating content, I realized that every time I did videos, me, myself, people, I think
Mhm.
it builds a certain trust in people. They love to see the person that is doing all this, And since this
Yeah.
is it's a greener field, people want to
Mhm.
see, they want to see the actual person. Some of the best performing videos were those that I appeared on camera, those that people saw my videos. Audios haven't really worked that well for me, but I've seen
Mhm.
wherever I've done content that is video form and broken down, like Instagram reels, you know, like
Mhm.
not complicated, but things that are just like someone can literally see and they appreciate. Those are some of
Yeah.
those are some of the platforms now. Like for YouTube, I realize shorts are working good. The YouTube shorts
Mm.
compared to the
Mhm.
longer versions.
Okay.
Then you realize on TikTok still the shorter is still shorter, like shorter videos. When you appear
Yeah.
before masses, they really feel like they know you, which has also built the brand in a way that they know the person. And some of them are shocked. They're like, oh, she's the one. She doesn't change, you know? They're like, so it builds trust. Like it's nothing filtered, nothing, you know, it's it's
Yeah.
not the models doing it, so they're like, oh, you're the one and you're here, wow. So it builds trust. So most of the platforms now, for me as a business creator, one thing that I developed was, because I'm a startup, I cannot assume to
Mhm.
be up there, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I use social media, all the platforms. Of course, I did start out from every platform. I started with Facebook as I was
Okay.
learning the algorithms of Facebook. What does Facebook want? What do people really love to see? And because I was showing up every day, people were very excited to see me. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's good. So I think every platform works best. Only that when you're starting out now, for me, it's more like a funnel, because I am here to drive sales as a business and also to educate. Now, as I'm educating, I need to also be driving sales. So it's a funnel for me when I am on Twitter, when on X, when I'm on Instagram, when I'm on YouTube, I'm on these different platforms, and I am creating content because, like you said, you have seen me on Instagram. Now,
Yep.
assuming I was not there on
Yeah.
TikTok, assuming I did not venture in there. But all of these things, I have tried to put myself out there, because there are funnels that are bringing in everything, and maybe some will become clients, others will become, I would hire, others would become partners, others would become friends. So I believe, but for the content, the type of content that I've done that has really made it very, 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 that has sold, has been the video, especially in this geotech, the videos and the carousels on Instagram. These ones where you, like, it's something, it's red, like literally someone goes through it all the way through. So those ones have really worked very well, because people really want to learn and understand what exactly you're talking about.
Excellent. Excellent. So how do you balance this? I mean, how do you balance running a firm and then also doing the social media, right? Because that just seems like it's a lot of work. But how do you balance that?
Yeah, true. It's a lot of work. But in 2023, I decided for 6 months that I was going to post every day. I told myself, you're going to post every day for 6 months. I don't need to create different contents. I just needed to create the same content, one piece of content, but I spread it all over. Like I said, content creation is about production and distribution. So if I create one piece of content and I distribute it all over, my day would be done. And guess what? After 6 months, it became it became a part of me. I said, wait, there is something I've not done today. I never had that feeling.
Yeah.
The feeling of, I've not eaten today. I feel hungry. So it became it became something like that. For 6 months, I said every single day, whether I've gone for a party, I will post on a party. Whether I've gone, but I still do the same content. I don't
Yeah.
deviate from the content that I'm doing. I do the same content. There are times I've even gone to parties and I'm editing a video for YouTube on my phone. and it was, I didn't have time to waste. So you asked me a question, how do I balance this? First of all, it's about you loving it. I love creating content. That's what I would
I
say.
could tell.
Yeah, I love creating, and I love talking, by the way. I've actually now come to a self-realization that I'm not good at documenting, writing
Mm.
notes and taking notes. And I just love to talk and do videos and do content and something like, and come up with ideas and force my head to think. So I think maybe that's why it's easy for me to juggle around content creation. And it's one of my strategies of growing my business. And also because
Yeah.
it's where I am getting customers. So it's more like a
Yeah.
marketplace. For me, I take all these platforms as a marketplace. Like how you go to buy groceries and anything. So I feel like, yeah, if I don't post every day, then I am losing out. So I am losing out
Wow.
and you are losing out. That's why I keep posting.
Wow. That's good. That you see the service aspect. You're right, because with the educational standpoint, yeah, you need to make sure that people are able to see what it is you're providing. So that's great. What advice would you have for there's a number of geotechnical engineers and even students that are watching right now, and they say, I don't want to create content. I'm overwhelmed or I don't know where to start. What would you say to them?
We all have 24 hours in a day. I am told of Elon Musk that he used to work 16 hours, you know?
Okay.
And look at some of the very richest men, people that we have really. Do you know that? Okay, before I even get to that part, do you know that
Mhm.
I work? I don't work from 8 to from 9 to 5. I don't do that. I
Okay.
work every single day. So for someone who is feeling overwhelmed, you simply don't loving what you do. When you love what you do, it ceases to be, it will cease to be, you get, when you love what you're doing,
Yeah.
okay, that's why I'm saying if you're starting out in content creation, if you love what you do, it will cease to be, I'm working from 8 to 9. Oh, I feel overwhelmed, because even in a lecture room, you can just put your phone and, you can teach fellow students you don't need to show your face. You just need
Yeah.
to know what you love. And when you
Yeah.
get what you love, because me, I love minerals and I was willing to take pictures of soils to be able to reach the part where I am into that space
Yeah.
of minerals. So if you love what you do, you will not feel overwhelmed. And for those
Wow.
that say, I love it, but I don't feel it. No, you simply don't love it. When you love it, it will become easier, even at late in the night, because lately I've started something they call TikTok lives. They have made me realize something that because there is a time I did a live up to like 3 in the morning. I said, wow,
Wow.
a live. I was feeling sweaty. I was tired. But because we
Yeah.
had initiated a conversation, I said I can't leave people who have entrusted their lives to understand
Wow.
I just leave them like that. No, no. Even if it means to sleep at 3, I will do it just because I love it. So if you feel overwhelmed, get a good book and
Yeah.
change here. When we change
Yes.
here, you're able to create even much, much more than even you'll ever think.
Wow. That is powerful. That is powerful, and I'm sure that encouraged me. So I'm sure that others are thinking about it. And if you're truly getting overwhelmed, do you love what it is you're doing? So wow. So before we wrap up this episode, of the Geotechnical Engineering Podcast. We're going to be taking a break from the podcast. And I think this is a perfect time to reflect on the power of sharing knowledge. So, what message do you want to leave our listeners with, talking about the importance of guiding others and growing within the industry and finding ways to contribute in meaningful ways? Because I think that what you're talking about, this is a way to contribute in a meaningful way. What advice do you want to give folks before we take our break?
Well, the advice I would give is just start. Don't wait. Someone said that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the best time to plant a tree is now. Another tree is now. So if you start now, something amazing is going to happen. Because when you start, it becomes like a law of attraction. Geotechnical engineering is a spirit, and it hears. When it hears its own, it opens up. And guess what? When you launch into, when you say, this is what I'm going to do, I am going to do geotechnical engineering, and you dive into, there is nothing like I am stopping. Because nothing, as you're starting out, you start as, I just want to do geotech for buildings. Then you realize that you're diving into bridges. Then you realize there is something, there are corners. So the reason why I'm saying let's start, it's because when you start this life, it's a journey that when you start, it just flows. It is a continuous path that just keeps flowing, and you just don't even understand. Because right now, if I am to go back at the top where, go back a few steps where I came from, then I would not find the way, because I have really now juggled, and now some of the things that maybe I studied in class have come to shape. I've seen them come in reality. And if it's possible, don't go with the mindset of, I want to be employed in this company. Just try to do something, and you will be realized and recognized for that thing. You will even meet people in spaces you never expected to meet. Because myself, this is a testimony. I could never imagine myself on such a podcast, honestly speaking, But because in 2022, I started, look how far we have come, with a break in 2024. But here we are. So just start, and you will fascinate. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right. Well, we're going to come back. Yes, go for it.
I wanted to just add on something. You don't need to be perfect. Actually, if you are here and you're watching me, you can go back and view my old posts. You will wonder. I met someone the other day. He's a doctor in Uganda. He has a PhD in civil engineering. And he was telling me, the content I saw you do years ago and the one you're doing now, they're different. Like, I appreciate the change and the growth, So I believe, let me tell you something. Someone is watching. When you start, someone is watching. So go for it.
Whew. On fire. Yes. Well, with that, we're going to come back in just a minute and close this one out with Deborah and our Career Factor Safety In segment. Stick around. All right. Welcome back. It's time for our Career Factor Safety In segment. When we think about geotechnical engineering, just like many disciplines of engineering, it's important to incorporate a factor of safety in our design. But what about incorporating a factor of safety into our career? Today, of course, we're speaking with today's guest, who's been just amazing to talk with, and this is Deborah Tusingwire, founder of ORESOIL. So, Deborah, you've already had a very successful career, and I don't want to say it like you're retiring. You're still in your career. But when you look back in your career, what's something that you've implemented in your career to give yourself, let's call it a factor of safety in your career?
One of the things is my environment. Environment matters so much with how far you go and how you reason and how you think and the results that you bring on the table. So to me, environment was changing some of the things that I personally, I didn't love reading. I didn't love reading books. We are Africa. But I realized that I needed to change. When I changed environment, by environment, I mean, I stopped the comforts. I got people that were pushing me to really become better at myself. They were telling me, you can do this, you can go ahead, you can do that, you can do this. So one of the things was to the environment. When I changed the environment and I started watching motivations and I started watching things that were not even related to my field, by the way, watching things that I just picked passion in research, like continuous learning, because that is one of the things that has managed to get me here, or to help me get into the space where I can now freely express myself. It was more like continuous learning. I am continuously on search. And it's amazing how everything just keeps unfolding because you're continuously learning. When you go to, for instance, when you go to school, I am willing to take risks. I am willing to go to a company, a big company, and tell them, this, I have this client. I don't need any money. I don't need any penny. I just want to go and witness what is happening on site. That's what I want to do. I just want you to do me a quotation. I'm giving you this client, but I just want to learn. I'm willing to do that. And when I do that, first of all, you're gaining trust from the people that you're giving these clients, and also you are learning. So one of those things that has gotten me running in this career is the continuous learning. And guess what? Everything adds up. Everything is interconnected. It's like an ecosystem. Whatever we are doing is an ecosystem. Whatever, regardless, the phones we are doing right now, when I started doing my research, you realize some of the minerals that we are mining are the ones that are putting up something like this. The houses that we are enjoying, the construction materials that we are doing, all these kind of things, it's an ecosystem. But you cannot, if you say that I am a geotechnical engineer, or I'm a civil engineer, or I'm a developer, or I'm this, and me, I just only want these things, I don't want these things. No. Sometimes when you do that, when you continue in learning, you realize that, this added up to this, and this could add up to this, and that's how you even don't feel the weight of not being employed. Now, for those that are looking out for employment opportunity, when I was in your particular position, I wanted people to employ me. But what was I bringing on the table? What can you do that is different from every other person? And you don't need to go to go and say, I don't know what to do. You have something to do. You can say, me, I'm going to go and do sales for an engineering company, because yes, you're an engineer, but you could be having other added skills or other natural born talents that you did not realize in the first place. So I believe that if you are starting out in your career, try to embrace continuous learning, even though it's free of charge. Even if it takes you to buy someone like Garage here a cup of coffee just to learn from them, do it, because it will not hurt. And when you're still a student, you realize you still have some money, some pennies. Now for us in Uganda, our parents still support us even after graduation, So you have to reach out to as many people as you can and learn from them. And because someone will be like, no, I don't have those mentors. If you don't have the mentors, go for the books. The mentors have already put everything in the books. Read their books, go online. There are mentors online. that people read about other things that are not related to your field, and you will see how they add up to your field. You will be amazed, because that is what has helped me. I've realized many of the things that I thought were complex, I seen them in now a nutshell, that there was something that wasn't complex. And I said, if I am ever to go back and maybe do my education, I think I would not be the old me. I would not chill to wait for a job. I would rather create opportunity for the jobs to come.
Wow. This was fantastic. Deborah, you have come on and you shared some really great insights with us. And the information and the advice you shared is going to be helpful for our listeners and those that are watching. So I thank you. I thank you. Where can people find you? You're on a lot of platforms. Where can they find you? And then we'll put it in the show notes so people can click the links. But where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
They can call me. They can use my WhatsApp, my phone number, because they're easier to reach out to. Then they can also just simply follow me on all my platforms. Deborah Tusingwire or ORESOIL.
Excellent. We'll get that in the show notes. Thank you so much. Keep up the great work. Truly inspired me. Appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the episode today. We would love to hear your feedback, comments, and/or questions. Please feel free to go to geotechnicalengineeringpodcast.com, where you'll find a summary of the key points discussed in today's episode, as well as any links to any resources, websites, or books mentioned during this episode. Until next time, we wish you the very best in all of your geotechnical engineering endeavors. Peace.